Hello, dear viewers. Welcome to Letting It Out to Let It Go series, which is dedicated to healing, growth, and finding closure. Here, I narrate your personal stories, capturing the raw experiences and lessons that shaped you. This series is a safe space for anyone looking and seeking to let go of the past that they've been holding for some reason by letting it out there, hence leading to peace of mind. The names in the stories have been changed out of respect for everyone involved and to protect their privacy. I was in the final year of graduation and had 2 subjects back, and the re-exams were close. Given the intense type of a person that I am, I was too anxious about my studies. Managing both final year studies with back subjects, it wasn't easy for me. All I wanted to do was to focus on my studies as the exams were near. So, no extracurricular activities, nothing else. Which was why I didn't raise my hand when the lecturer asked who wanted to participate in the intercollegiate competition, which involved time-consuming, in-depth research about the companies when it got announced in the class. I remember seeing half of the class raising their hands for it. After some 15 minutes later, I and another girl, Koyal, was summoned into principal's office. There, Ishita ma'am, a subject lecturer who was in charge of the students' participation from our college, told us that we were the candidates chosen for the competition. I tried to say no and explained how I was preoccupied with my studies, but she wouldn't take a no for an answer and persuaded me to participate, her reason being I and Koyal were the only students in the class with decent English skills, and so my name was unwillingly written. But here's the thing, when it comes to competition, I always strive to give my best, which I wasn't able to do back at that time. I wasn't able to manage it. I'm sure some of you who are watching this video must find it easy, but it was not the case for me. So, after a few days, I decided to withdraw. And since I was withdrawing, I took it as a responsibility to have someone take my place in the competition. I asked the class if anyone was interested in taking part in the competition, but nobody raised their hands. I guess everyone was offended for not being chosen before. Then I remembered one girl, we'll call her Sama. Back then, she was showing a lot of energy and enthusiasm when the lecturer in the class asked who wanted to participate in the competition. Her energy felt quite vibrant, and so I thought that she'll be up for it. She was absent that day, and so was Ishita ma'am. So I and a friend, Shania, called Sama with Shania's phone. To my disappointment, she was not up for it, but I somehow convinced her to participate. And she finally said yes, she'll do it. We went to the principal to inform her about my withdrawal and Sama as my replacement for the competition. The next day, I told Ishita ma'am about it. She was clearly disappointed. It showed on her face. But for me, it was what it was. Now I can prepare for my exams without any disturbances. The next day, Shania called me and told me that Ishita ma'am called her and scolded her. Ishita ma'am thought she gave Sama's name as the participant. She said that Sama was not picking Ishita ma'am's calls. I got worried as that day was the last day for registering for the competition. That day was the deadline. So, I called her to see what was going on. But she wasn't taking my calls as well. Thank God the next day, when I met her, she told me that she had entered her name as the participant representing our college before the deadline. I thanked her for not backing off. I sent her the photo of the poster with information about the competition. Then I myself had to take leave for one day due to fever. The next day, I came to know that a certain incident happened in the class where Ishita ma'am scolded the class for not participating and used some extreme or rather harsh words where she asked what worthy things they have done in their lives and told them, "तुम लोग अपने माँ बाप के पैसों से अय्याशी करते हो." The English meaning for the word ayyashi is debauchery. The translation of the sentence would be, "You people use your parents' money for debauchery," which I must say, my classmates were not. We all came from conservative households and modest backgrounds, and most of us would not do such stuff, which was why my classmates must have got offended. If memory serves correctly, then it was the next day itself when Koyal came to the library, where I was studying for the re-exams with a friend. She told me that Ishita ma'am was crying. You see, Ishita ma'am had a habit of engaging with conversation or something like that with the class before she would start teaching. But when ma'am tried to engage with the class that day, she got no response from them. When asked why they were not responding, one of the girls, Svetlana, must have said that what she told them yesterday hurt them. I don't actually remember what she said, but it did make Ishita ma'am cry. I guess Ishita ma'am was a highly sensitive person, although I do remember that whatever Svetlana said was not anything that strong or harsh for Ishita ma'am to cry about. Hearing that, I awkwardly went to the classroom, wiped tears from her face, and tried to comfort her so that she could stop crying, but she dismissed my efforts to comfort her. I sat there for a while, awkwardly, and then left awkwardly. Went back to the library. Anyways, ever since Sama participated, till the competition, I would in between ask Sama about how her preparations were going. I came to know from Sama that Koyal backed off from the competition, and in her place there was a second-year student who participated. Koyal had no reason. She just didn't want to participate. It's so weird, right? I do it, it was a disappointment. But Koyal does it, then it was okay. You see, Koyal was actually Ishita ma'am's favorite student till the last day. Anyways, back to the story. After her competition, I asked Sama about her experience, and she told me about it. Then one of her classmates said that our class girls show energy and enthusiasm in the beginning, but they all become cold later. To which Sama said, "Yes, I've seen it myself." It hit me, and just to be sure, I asked Sama, "Are you referring towards me?" She replied with a yes. I said, "How could you say this? I've told you, I had my reasons. I even sent you information about the competition and even tried to help you." She bluntly said, "You did nothing." I told her that I sent her the photos of the information. She said, "What photo?" To my misfortune, I just deleted the photo a day before due to space issues from the Messages app to save space in my phone. It was a routine of mine, and I was such an idiot that back then it didn't occur in my mind to ask her to check her phone then and there. The way she talked about it made it look like I was a coward and an irresponsible person. If I was in the proper emotional state, I would have told her then and there that she was wrong about me doing nothing. I didn't want to participate in the first place. I had to withdraw from the competition because I couldn't keep up with my studies and preparing for the competition altogether due to my mental health and emotional state back then, which was caused by high-functioning anxiety. I could have just withdrawn and leave it to the teachers to find a replacement in my place, like Koyal did. But I didn't. I took accountability and responsibility of arranging for my replacement for the competition. I chose and convinced Sama because I saw her energy and enthusiasm. I gave Sama the chance to shine. I sent her the information regarding the competition through the photos of the poster. It's not my fault if she didn't saw it, and she said that I did nothing. After giving it a thought about everything that was happening, I came up with an idea of giving a speech in the class to help brighten up the somewhat ruined relationship of my classmates with Ishita ma'am, help them unite a bit, and bring Sama in front of the class and tell her to say a few words about the competition, how and why I chose Sama, and how I tried to be as responsible and tried to help her. Then tell Sama to share her experience of the competition with the class so that the class would get motivated to take part in the future competitions. Then lastly, I was going to talk about Ishita ma'am, that when she scolded the class that day, her intention was pure, although the execution was a bit extreme and the choice of words were somewhat improper. What matters the most was that she meant well, and that we were there for a few months only. So let's use that time by not taking things to heart. Back at that time, I thought that speech would bring the class and teacher together, motivate them to actively participate in competitions, help them acknowledge Ishita ma'am's intentions and promote a positive mindset. Now let me tell you, even though I prepared that speech, I wasn't feeling emotionally stable. But I thought that it's important to address these issues with the class and Sama, as this way she may realize my contribution and not think of me as an irresponsible person anymore. For some reason, I wanted her validation. Her experience would motivate the class to participate in competitions, and the class environment when it comes to Ishita ma'am would lighten up, becoming friendlier towards her again. So I decided to go with it. Little did I know that I was about to mess it up. I remember the next day, I went to Ishita ma'am before she was about to enter the class and tried telling her about my idea. It came out wrong, which caused a bit of misunderstanding, but she still allowed me to give the speech in front of the class. So during her engaging time, she said to the class that QQ wants to say something. That day, Sama was sitting behind me, and I told her to get up and come with me in front of the class. She was obviously confused and got scared as to what was going on. I tried saying that it was nothing special and that it was going to be okay. Then when it came to giving the speech, that too wasn't coming out well. I suddenly couldn't remember what I was going to say. I don't actually remember what I said, but it didn't come out right. Just some blabbering, and I didn't say much. To worsen things up, there was this classmate of mine, I'll call her TP. TP as in toxic positivity. She was a toxically positive person, a hypocrite, and known for having fights with others. And I've noticed during those graduation years that she didn't like me. She suddenly, loudly kept on saying, "Don't do it, please don't do it," as if I was going to say something negative about Sama and was trying to humiliate her in front of the class. It was not the first time she did something like that, but that's a story for another video. I lost my temper and shouted at her, telling her to shut up. But then the damage had been done. By the way, the class attendance barely had 10 to 12 girls, including us that day. They've assumed that I was picking up a fight with Sama. Sama's best friend, let's call her Dawn because she was called the Dawn of the class, a troublemaker in the class, told me to shut up. I completely forgot what I was going to say and told Sama to go back to our seats. Sama told me that I was a fish. She said that 3 to 4 times. That whole time I was apologizing to her instead of telling her what exactly I was trying to do. I guess I was both shocked and puzzled as to what happened when TP suddenly intervened and escalated the situation. I was processing what was going on myself, which was why it didn't occur to me to tell Sama about my true intentions. I said, "Was it too bad? You felt hurt? I'm so sorry." Poor Ishita ma'am. She tried to engage the class and steer it back to normal. I remember raising my hand, standing up in my seat and apologizing. But it was of no use. And the last thing that I remember about that day was when Ishita ma'am said that, "I'm not a teacher. You guys have made me a joke." That day, I went home crying. Ever since then, I got bullied with the words, "QQ, how many doubts do you have?" by Dawn first, followed by a few classmates. To be continued in part 2.